Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start scene 4, Act 3. So this is following Banquo's assassination, right, and murder of Banquo. Banquo is dead, Leonce is fled, and we're going to kind of see the immediate aftermath. You guys remember Macbeth was talking to Banquo about a feast that they were having at nighttime, and he was hoping that Banquo would join them. And so we are beginning that feast, and you guys can imagine those kind of old medieval feasts with the huge long table, and the seating is very specific for nobles and the king and the queen, so you were to sit in a certain spot, right? And so it becomes important, I promise. So we are about to begin this feast, and as we kind of begin, we're going to have Macbeth and Lady Macbeth greet their guests in all the kindness and the noble way, because they are king and queen. And then you guys are gonna notice, or Macbeth's gonna notice, you should notice too on screen direction, that one of the murderers has come discreetly to report what happened with Banquo and Fleance. So he's going to kind of greet his guests and then slip off to the side and speak with the murderer. So you want to pay attention to the screen direction, because a lot of his responses to the news is that are asides, which are basically right to himself, not out loud for everyone to hear. If you guys are in the yellow book, you are on page 111 at the bottom. If you guys are in the blue book, you're at the bottom of 95. So here we go.
You know your own degrees. Sit down. At first and last, the hearty welcome.
Thanks to your majesty.
Ourself will mingle with society and play the humble host. Our hostess keeps her state, but in best time we will require her welcome.
Pronounce it for me, sir. To all our friends, from my heart speaks, they are welcome.
See, they encounter thee with their heart's thanks. Both sides are even. Here, I'll sit in the midst. Be large in mirth, anon we'll drink a measure the table round. There's blood upon thy face.
'Tis Banquo's then.
'Tis better thee without than he within. Is he dispatched?
My lord, his throat is cut. That I did for him.
Thou art the best of the cutthroats. Yet he's good that did the like for Fleance. If thou didst it, thou art the nonpareil.
Most royal sir, Fleance escaped.
Then comes my fit again. I had else been perfect, whole as the marble, founded as the rock, as broad and general as the casing air. But now I am cabined, cribbed, confined, bound into saucy doubts and fears. But Banquo safe?
Aye, my good lord. Safe in a ditch he bides, with 20 trenched gashes on his head, the least a death to nature.
Thanks for that. There the grown serpent lies. The worm that's fled hath nature that in time will venom breed. No teeth for the present. Get thee gone. Tomorrow we'll hear ourselves again.
My royal lord, you do not give the cheer. The feast is sold that is not often vouched, while 'tis a making, 'tis given with welcome. To feed were best at home. From thence the sauce to meat is ceremony. Meeting were bare without it.
Sweet remembrancer. Now, good digestion, weight on appetite, and health on both.
Okay, pause. So this is like a little bit easier to watch rather than it is to read, right? So Macbeth excuses himself, goes to meet with the murderer, and he just cannot say that without growling at the end of it. So he meets with him, and I mean, this guy's not subtle. He's got Banquo's blood on his face, right? And he says, it's done. I killed Banquo, but we have a problem. Fleance is gone. And so Macbeth here has kind of lies to himself a little bit at the bottom of 97 in the blue book, and it's on page 112 in the yellow book. He says that, had then comes my fit again. So here comes my anxiety again. I had else been perfect. Whole as the marble, founded as the rock. If this had gone well and Fleance and Banquo were both dead, then everything would have been fine. My anxiety would have mellowed out. Do we really believe that? Not, I wouldn't say that we should, because he has Malcolm and Donalbain to still worry about, right? They're still very much a threat, no matter how much he wants to ignore them. But then we also have what his reactions were to Duncan, right? He has not had a good night's sleep since Duncan's death. And so we really kind of want to analyze, his behavior and think, was he really losing sleep because he was kind of just worried about Banquo and Fleance? Or is he also losing sleep because as he's kind of shown, right? The guilt. His guilt is plaguing him. So if Banquo and Fleance were both dead, I think that there would still be an issue with regards to his guilt, right? Not being able to function with it. So they separate, and Banquo's body has been dumped in a ditch, right? And they separate, and we'll talk again tomorrow, this murderer and Macbeth, right? And so the murderer leaves, and Macbeth comes back to this feast, and Lady Macbeth greets him and basically says, what's the point of having this feast if our wonderful host isn't here to entertain his guests, right? And then we have what the stage direction identifies as the ghost of Banquo. So because of stage direction, we know that this is supposed to be a ghost, right? This is Banquo's dead. We know that, right? But for Macbeth, he doesn't know that this is not real yet, right? Because Banquo he was supposed to be at the feast. He was supposed to be there, and he was supposed to participate in it. So for a moment here, we have Macbeth seeing Banquo come in, sit in his seat, and it does not register for him yet what he sees, right? That Banquo has come in and sat in his chair. It will here in a moment. So let's read on.
May it please your highness sit.
Here had we now our country's honor roofed. Were the graced person of our Banquo present, whom may I rather challenge for unkindness than pity for mischance?
His absence, sir, lays blame upon his promise. Pleased your highness to grace us with your royal company?
The table's full.
Here is a place reserved, sir.
Where?
Here, my good lord. What is that moves your highness?
Which of you have done this?
What, my good lord?
Thou canst not say I did it. Never shake thy gory locks at me.
Gentlemen, rise. His highness is not well.
Sit, worthy friends. My lord is often thus, and hath been from his youth. Pray you, keep seat. The fit is momentary. Upon a thought he will again be well. If much you note him, you shall offend him and extend his passion. Feed and regard him not.
Are you a man?
Aye, and a bold one that dare look on that which might appall the devil.
Oh, proper stuff. This is the very painting of your fear. This is the air-drawn dagger which you said led you to Duncan. Oh, these flaws and starts, impostors to true fear, would well become a woman's story at a winter's fire authorized by her grandam. Shame itself. Why do you make such faces? When all's done, you look but on a stool.
Prithee, see there. Behold, look. Lo, how say you? Why, what care I? If thou canst nod, speak to. If charnel houses and our graves must send those that we bury back, our monuments should be the maws of kites.
What?
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna go leave. Sorry, I totally kind of missed a point there at the beginning because I thought I remembered it a certain way, but I did not remember it accurately. So Macbeth doesn't notice that it's actually Banquo's body in the seat, right? When he sees that the table is full, he doesn't notice that one of the people that is sitting there is Banquo, right? Just that there's a body in the seat. So he doesn't identify it as Banquo. When he looks closer, because the other nobles tell him, yes, there is a seat vacant, it's right there. That draws his attention to that empty seat. Well, to everyone else it's empty. But for Macbeth, he sees Banquo sitting in the chair, glaring at him, right? Looking at him. Now, Banquo does not talk, and he does not have any interaction with anyone else. No one else sees him. It's just Macbeth. And at this point, we have to, like I was saying, we have to question Macbeth's sanity. Is this something supernatural, or is it something that is all in his mind, right? Is he going insane? If we think about the voices that we heard earlier, the dagger that we saw, and he knew that was a hallucination, we're really starting to question whether or not there is anything supernatural to any of this, right? Or is it just Macbeth slowly losing his mind? And a big thing that I think is an indicator that it might be his sanity slipping is that he only sees this ghost after he knows that Banquo is dead, right? If this ghost were to appear before he got the news, then maybe it would be something that's fantastical, right? That's supernatural and of the other world. But he only sees it after he knows that what he commanded, right? The death of his friend is carried out. And so that kind of gives us the indication that it's his mind that's messing with him. So Lady Macbeth, he freaks, right? I would too, if someone, I thought someone was dead and then all of a sudden they're staring at me, right? And he begins talking to the ghost, and the ghost does not say anything back. But if you can imagine from everyone else's point of view, Macbeth is just talking to air, right? Talking to an empty stool. And Lady Macbeth says this. We look at 116 in the yellow books and 101 in the blue books. She tells everyone, to sit down, don't pay any attention to him. Upon a thought, he will again be well. If much you note him, you shall offend him and extend his passion. So he gets these, her excuse for him is he gets these episodes sometimes. And it's nothing to worry about. It's just something that needs to be ignored. So if you give him attention while he's going through this little fit, it would make it worse. So everyone just kind of needs to ignore him. It's totally normal. Everything's fine. Your leader's fine. We should just carry on with the feast. So Lady Macbeth is very much trying to push things along. And when she does confront Macbeth quietly, she again pulls that line out, right? It just seems to be a normal thing to question people's manhood, or in Shakespeare time. Are you a man, right? I, a bold one, that dare look on that which might appall the devil, right? Oh yeah, I'm a man, for sure. Because I can tell you right now, if you were seeing what I was seeing right now, you couldn't handle it, right? I am a man because I can deal with what is staring me in the face right now, and that is the ghost of my dead friend, right? And she tries to kind of get him to calm down. She mentions it's a very painting of your fear. This is the air-drawn dagger, which you said led you to Duncan. So we have that confirmation that he tells her a lot, right? So before Duncan's death, we saw the dagger, and she tells him, it just like you knew that was a hallucination, you have to tell yourself that this is a hallucination too. So back when we saw the dagger, he could tell himself, remember that I'm not insane because I know I'm going insane. He could tell himself this is a hallucination, it's not real, I can move on. Here, he cannot do that. If anything, he continues to talk to Banquo's ghost, right? At the bottom, 85, line 85 in the blue book, line 70 in the yellow. Pray thee, see thee, behold, look, lo, how say you? Why, what care I? If thou canst not speak to, right? So as he talks to this ghost or whatever it is, this hallucination, whatever you want to kind of consider it, he's asking it like, what, like, talk to me, say something, like show me some indication, right? If you nod, you'll speak, right? Those that we bury back, our monuments shall be the maws of kites, right? If this is what the dead are supposed to do, if the dead are supposed to come back and visit us, why bother burying them, right? Why bother putting the bodies away if they're all just gonna crawl up out of their graves and come visit us during a feast, right? So he's not handling this like he handled the dagger. He's definitely unhinged here. All right, so let's continue here after the ghost disappears. That's not the last we'll see of it.
Quite unmanned in folly?
If I stand here, I saw him.
Fie, for shame!
Blood hath been shed ere now, in the olden time, ere humane statute purged the gentle wheel. Aye, and since, too, murders have been performed, too terrible for the ear. The time has been that when the brains were out, the man would die, and there an end. But now they rise again with 20 mortal murders on their crowns, and push us from our stools. This is more strange than such a murder is.
My worthy lord, your noble friends do lack you.
I do forget. Do not muse at me, my most worthy friends. I have a strange infirmity, which is nothing to those that know me. Come, love and health to all. Then I'll sit down. Give me some wine.
Okay, so he collects himself back up there, but you guys saw it, right? He continued to lash out and yell about this fantastic being that's before him, right? Essentially, like, I know that you're dead. Murder killed you. Like, humans aren't meant to be seen after they go through something like that, right? Why bother with the murder if you don't stay dead? So he keeps kind of saying this nonsense, right, about the dead coming back to life, about the curse of this soul or this ghost coming back, even though it's supposed to be in the ground, it's supposed to be dead. It's stranger than the murder itself. No one knows what he's talking about, particularly that he's using the word murder. He's using these dangerous words that are showing some kind of guilt for that action, right? And this is not okay to be doing in front of all the nobles and the lords that are supposed to be supporting you. And at this point, Lady Macbeth is mad, right? She's like, you really need to get your things together because we are not alone. We are in front of everybody. We're on stage here in form of, we're supposed to be king, we're supposed to have our stuff together. You cannot be saying these crazy things in front of our friends. All right, so he tries to calm down, tells his friends the same thing his wife tells them, right? I have these small fits, I'm okay. And he collects himself for about 2 seconds. And so the ghost then returns and he's going to try his best, but again, Macbeth's not good at any of this.
Fill full. I drink to the general joy of the whole table and to our dear friend Banquo, whom we miss. Would he were here. To all and him we thirst, and all to all.
Our duties and the pledge.
Avaunt and quit my sight. Let the earth hide thee. Thy bones are marrowless, thy blood is cold. Thou hast no speculation in those eyes which thou dost glare with.
Think of this, good peers, but as a thing of custom. 'Tis no other, only it spoils the pleasure of the time.
Man dare, I dare. Approach thou like the rugged Russian bear, the armed rhinoceros or the Hyrcan tiger. Take any shape but that, and my firm nerves shall never tremble or be alive again. And dare me to the desert with thy sword. If trembling I inhabit, then protest me the baby of a girl. Hence, horrible shadow, unreal mockery, hence. Why so? Being gone, I am a man again. Pray you sit still.
You have displaced the mirth, broke the good meeting with most admired disorder.
Can such things be, and overcome us like a summer's cloud without our special wonder? You make me strange, even to the disposition that I owe, and now I think you can behold such sights and keep the natural ruby of your cheeks when mine is blanched with fear.
What sights, my lord?
I pray you speak not. He grows worse and worse. Question enrages him. At once, good night. Stand not upon the order of your going, but go at once.
Good night, and better health attend his majesty.
A kind good night to all.
Okay, before she chews him up and spits him back out. All right, so when the ghost comes back in, you guys can imagine this ghost like walking along on the stage, coming and going. They didn't have special effects. It would just be this guy that, well, it would be the banquet actor kind of dressed as the ghost or acknowledged as the ghost, right? And then when he notices it again, he loses all control, right? At the bottom of 118 or 103 in the blue book, 118 in the yellow book. He loses it. He begins to scream, quit my sight, to, leave here. Where is it? And we continue on. Lady Macbeth keeps trying to calm everybody, but at this point, if you can imagine him just screaming at an empty spot in the room, right? What man dare, I dare, right? I am a brave man, but honestly, you could be any other creature, a Russian bear, an armed rhinoceros, a tiger, right? Take any shape, but the shape of the man that I have had murdered, right? The shape of my friend that I've had murdered. I am a brave man. I know that, but this is too much. This is my breaking point. Seeing ghosts. My off topic. My husband loves like those horror. Me and my husband have totally two different versions of a horror movie. For me, I love the ghost and supernatural stuff because I feel personally it's not real, so I can enjoy that stuff without kind of getting freaked out. But the killer, psychopaths that murder people, those movies freak me out because I know that a lot of people are messed up in the world and it bothers me, right? And for my husband, it's the opposite. For some reason, he's not afraid of the earthly things, maybe because he's a dude. But the supernatural really scares him. It freaks him out, right? It's kind of like because he has no control over it. He can't really get himself to kind of face those things, right? Because it freaks him out. And I'm sure he would love for me to tell you guys that. But Macbeth kind of confesses that same thing here, right? Supernatural, I cannot deal with because I can't do anything about it, right? Or things that I can't touch, things that are not really there. This is too much for me. Take any real man's form. Be Banquo himself, alive again with blood in his body, and I will, go out and fight you right now. But ghost, no, thank you, right? I'm done. And so at this point, he's screaming at nothing. Everyone's freaking out, right? The thing is Macbeth has yet to realize that he's the only one that can see Banquo. Not only that, and we know that he might be losing his mind, especially because no one else knows that Banquo's dead. They think he's just missing, right? And so just before, or just after that, Macbeth addresses everyone and says, you make me strange even to the disposition that I owe. When now I think you can behold such sight and keep the natural ruby in your cheeks, where mine is blanched with fear. What is wrong with you people? Do you not see the dead man, the ghost, sitting at the table? Are you all blind? Right? And Ross confirms, no, we don't see anyone at the table. What sight, my lord? What are you talking about? There's nothing here. And at this point, Lady Macbeth excuses everybody, right? So the ghost has disappeared. Macbeth is cuckoo, and she has asked everyone to just leave them be. She basically tells Macbeth, you ruined this party. You've taken all the joy out of it with your weird behavior. Everyone needs to go. So she hustles everybody out. And this is her and Macbeth alone.
It will have blood, they say. Blood will have blood. Stones have been known to move and trees to speak. Augurs and understood relations have by maggot pies and choughs and rooks brought forth the secretest man of blood. What is the night?
Almost at odds with morning. Which is which?
How sayest thou that Macduff denies his person at our great bidding?
Did you send to him, sir?
I hear it by the way, but I will send. There's not a one of them, but in his house I keep a servant feed. I will tomorrow, and betimes I will, to the weird sisters. More shall they speak, for now I am bent to know by the worst means the worst. For mine own good, all causes shall give way. I am in blood, stepped in so far that, should I wade no more, returning were as tedious as go o'er. Strange things I have in head that will to hand, which must be acted ere they may be scanned.
You lack the season of all natures. Sleep.
Come, will to sleep. My strange and self-abuse is the initiate fear that wants hard use. We are yet but young, indeed.
Okay, so I think it's funny how they just completely like she chastises him in front of her friend, in front of all of the nobles, right? Not her friends, nobles, right? And then she's kind of just, once they're alone, she's kind of just watching him, right? Like she doesn't know what to do with him after a display like that. And I think that's, I think, more terrifying than actually dealing with him, than yelling at him, because I think she's a little scared of him at this point. And a big thing that he's missing here, and she comments on it too, is not only does he feel guilty, but he lacks sleep. Remember, Macbeth hath murdered sleep. You can imagine days and days and days and days and days and days and days without sleep, or at least sufficient sleep. You start to kind of lose it, right? And so you need to sleep, you need to relax. But he has more worries. Like I said, Blenheim is not his only worry. We know of Malcolm and Donalbain, and here he confirms Macduff. He says, why dost thou, I'm reading the wrong side of here. How sayest thou that Macduff denies his person at our great bidding? So Macduff was missing this night. And Macbeth has it on good authority that Macduff chooses to ignore Macbeth, right? So Macduff is distancing himself from Macbeth, which is, remember, we already kind of know Macduff doesn't particularly like Macbeth. He was a Duncan fan, and now him ignoring the king's request, Macbeth's request, right? That's not good, right? It means that Macduff has issues with his reign. Additionally, we find out that Macbeth is stepping a little bit over the line. So remember, we talked about paranoia, right? And here we can see something that Macbeth is doing that indicates that paranoia. Not just the ghost, right? Because the ghost at this point, I think, shows insanity. He says here, there's not a one of them, but in his house I keep a servant fed, to feed servants, right? He's paying spies off in each of the nobles' houses. So not only is he wary of the people that are justified, right? Wary of Banquo, wary of Macduff, wary of Malcolm and Donalbain, but he's also watching all of the other nobles, right? So at this point, he is spying on his own subjects, even if there's no reason to do it, so that he can kind of feel some sense of relief from whatever's going on inside of him, right? Additionally, he plans to go, he says, I will tomorrow to see the weird sisters, the witches. And at this point, you guys should just know, weird sisters equals the witches, right? He needs to speak with them. He needs to kind of know at this point, what should he be worried about? Because the path just seems so unclear, and it gets bloodier and bloodier as he goes. And so he needs to understand, well, what should I be doing? What's my next steps? And he hopes that the weird sisters have an answer for him. But remember, we don't really know the weird sister's motives for telling him in the first place. So we have to question whether or not they give him legitimate answers for his concerns now, because we don't really know what their intentions were by causing all of this chaos in the first place. So here we go. Let's continue to scene 5.
Why, how now, Hackett? You look angrily.
Have I not reason, beldams as you are? Saucy and overbold, how did you dare to trade and traffic with Macbeth in riddles and affairs of death? And I, the mistress of your charms, the close contriver of all harms, was never called to bear my part or show the glory of our art? And which is worse, all you have done hath been but for a wayward son, spiteful and wrathful, who, as others do, loves for his own ends, not for you. But make amends now. Get you gone, and at the pit of Acheron, meet me in the morning. Thither he will come to know his destiny. Your vessels and your spells provide, your charms and everything beside. I am for the air. This night I'll spend unto a dismal and a fatal end. Great business must be wrought ere noon. Upon the corner of the moon there hangs a vaporous drop profound. I'll catch it ere it come to ground, and that, distilled by magic sleights, shall raise such artificial sprites as by the strength of their illusion shall draw him on to his confusion. He shall spurn fate, scorn death, and bear his hopes above wisdom, grace, and fear. And you all know, security is mortal's chiefest enemy. Hark! I am called. My little spirit, see, sits in a foggy cloud and stays for me. I come with all the speed I may. I come, I come, I come. I come with all the speed I may. I come, I come, I come.
Come, let's make haste. She'll soon be back again.
All right, so we have Hecate, the kind of demonic leader of these witches, right? And the first witch responds to her, "You look ticked off, right? You look angrily. What's the matter?" And Hecate's not happy with what they've done with Macbeth. And not so much that they've caused chaos, but the way that they've kind of gone about giving him information. She's just not happy with the way that they did it. One, she wasn't included. She wasn't consulted. She says, how dare you trade to trade and traffic with Macbeth in riddles of affairs and affairs of death. They rhyme really well here. And I, the mistress of your charms, the close contriver of all harms, was never called to bear my part or show the glory of our art. You guys did it without me. Why? I wanted some kind of, part in it, right? But additionally, her problem with revealing these predictions to Macbeth is that there's nothing in it for them. So unlike the witches, Hecate seems to kind of show that there should have been something in it for them, right? There should have been some kind of reward or some kind of payoff at the end of all of this. Not necessarily money. But she says, no, this guy, our wayward son, He's spiteful, wrathful, who loves for his own ends, not for you. So he only thinks of himself, right? There's no kind of acknowledgement of you guys. There's no reward for you guys. And Hecate kind of knows how this future is going to play out. As we continue on down this little speech, where is it? She says, "Meet me in the morning at the pit of Archon. Am I saying that right? Thither he will come to know his destiny." So she knows that Macbeth is coming to them, and she knows what he wants, right? He wants to know how the rest of this is going to play out and what he should do. And so she says that you guys are going to meet him there, and you guys are going to give him what he wants, but not what he needs. You guys are going to give him predictions that mislead him. They are not untrue. They are just not clear. And so at this point, we're almost kind of predicting his downfall. She says at the very end of here, and you all know security is mortal's chiefest enemy. So if we give him predictions that he doesn't understand, maybe perceives as good or manageable, but we know their steps to his end, he'll feel comfortable, he'll feel confident, right? He'll get these predictions and think he knows, right? He'll think he knows how to handle the future, how to handle the next steps. But the problem is, as soon as humans feel like they have control over things, everything falls apart, right? Everything kind of disintegrates before them, right? So Macbeth's confidence is his biggest enemy here. He should be afraid, according to the witches. But they like when humans don't know any better because it's fun for them. All right, so we're going to continue scene 6, Palace back at Forest with Lennox and another lord. So this is again going to be one of those scenes like at the end of Act 3 with Macbeth and Lennox. Lennox seems to be the guy that kind of gives us the info or is in the scene where we get info. Anyways, this is going to be a scene like the one with Lennox last. No, it was Ross last time. This is going to be one of those scenes like with Ross and Macduff. We're having a little conversation on the stage, and through that conversation, we're learning of all of these things that are happening off stage or happening in the meantime, right? So here we go.
My former speeches have but hit your thoughts, which can interpret farther. Only I say things have been strangely born. The gracious Duncan was pitied of Macbeth. Marry, he was dead. And the right valiant Banquo walked too late, whom you may say, if to please you, Fleance killed, for Fleance fled. Men must not walk too late. Who cannot want the thought how monstrous it was for Malcolm and for Donalbain to kill their gracious father? Damned fact, how it did grieve Macbeth. Did he not straight in pious rage the two delinquents tear that were the slaves of drink and thralls of sleep? Was not that nobly done? Aye, and wisely too, for 'twould have angered any heart alive to hear the men deny it. So that I say he has borne all things well. And I do think that had he Duncan's sons under his key, as and to please heaven he shall not, they should find what 'twere to kill a father, so should Fleance. But peace. For from broad words, and 'cause he failed his presence at the tyrant's feast, I hear Macduff lives in disgrace. Sir, can you tell where he bestows himself?
The son of Duncan, from whom this tyrant holds the due of birth, lives in the English court, and is received of the most pious Edward with such grace that the malevolence of fortune nothing takes from his high respect. Thither Macduff is gone to pray the holy king upon his aid, to wake Northumberland and warlike Seward, that by the help of these, with him above to ratify the work, we may again give to our tables meat, sleep to our nights, free from our feasts and banquets, bloody knives, do faithful homage and receive free honors, all which we pine for now. And this report has so exasperated the king that he prepares for some attempt of war.
Sent he to Macduff?
He did, and with an absolute "Sir, not I." The cloudy messenger turns me his back and hums, as who should say, "You'll rue the time that clogs me with this answer."
And that well might advise him to a caution to hold what distance his wisdom can provide. Some holy angel fly to the court of England and unfold his message ere he come, that a swift blessing may soon return to this our suffering country under a hand accursed.
I'll send my prayers with him.
Okay, lots of stuff. All right, so we have had the passing of a little bit of time here. At this point, Scotland is not doing well. It's not doing well under Macbeth, and many nobles are beginning to turn on him. Right? Lennox here kind of recounts everything that has happened so far. Right? The murder of Duncan, the framing of his sons. I guess Leonce has been blamed for Banquo's death. So apparently, all sons just want to kill their fathers in Scotland. So at this point, nothing makes sense anymore. Nothing makes sense. Like Malcolm and Donald Bane killing their father, Leon killing his father and fleeing. Macbeth's kind of reactions to everything that has happened, right? Lennox is kind of going over this in a sarcastic way, mocking, I think, how easily everything has been believed up to this point. But yet, here at the end of it, we have a confirmation that that people are beginning to doubt him, right? That we are going to, that people are beginning to leave him. The biggest one of all is Macduff here. So Lennox says that Macduff, he lives in disgrace. He has not come to use the word tyrant to confirm Macbeth, right? He does not come to the feast. He does not come to his beckon. And so he asked this Lord, well, where is he, right? Where is Macduff? Because Macduff is a point of interest now. And the Lord replies that he's the son of Duncan, from whom this tyrant holds the true birth, lives in the English court, and is received of the most pious Edward with such grace that the malevolence of fortune nothing takes from his high respect. Thither Macduff is gone to pray the Holy King. So Malcolm went to England, right? And he has gained the support of the British crown, right? So he's gained the English king supports him and believes him about the death of his father. And so Macduff has gone to him, right? Macduff has gone to his king, or who he sees as the rightful king, and that is Malcolm. So Macduff is at this point a traitor, but a lot of Scotland is beginning to see Macbeth as a tyrant, right? Because if he is guilty of all of these murders, he's basically on a rampage of death. And for the last time Macduff is sent for, right? Macbeth has asked that Macduff come back to court, and Macduff openly denies it, right? Sir, not I shall not go to you, right? You are not my king. And so at this point, Lennox 130 at the end, it shows that the lords, the nobles aren't the only ones that are thinking that Macbeth shouldn't be on the throne. He talks about some holy angel fly to court of England and unfold his message ere he come, that a swift blessing may soon return to our suffering country under a hand accursed, right? We don't like Macbeth. He's, based on what we've seen so far, he's losing his mind. That's probably not reflecting well in his leadership, right? He's doing away with anyone that seems to turn against him, and now it seems that Macduff is his new target. So we're definitely starting to kind of get that Macbeth is not a good king, all right? So that's where we're going to end. Yay, yada yada. And then we will continue Act 4 next week. All right. Make sure that you complete your worksheets and email me if you have any questions. I end it now.